All right, let's jump right in. We are going to break down this really fascinating year-long experiment. And what's so cool about it is there were no complicated budgets, no big drastic lifestyle changes. The goal was super simple. Just track every single penny. Not to judge, not to shame, but just to understand. And what it uncovered were some pretty brutal, deep-seated psychological truths about how we really deal with our money.
I mean, does this sound familiar? It's that feeling, That low-grade hum of anxiety that so many of us have. You get paid, you handle your big bills, and then, poof! It's like the rest of your money just vanishes into thin air, and you're left wondering where it all went. It's this super frustrating feeling of not quite being in control.
If you have ever asked yourself that question, trust me, you are in good company. We're going to follow the journey of this simple experiment, which was all about observation, not judgment. And what was found wasn't really a math problem. It was all about psychology.
Okay, so truth number one. This one, right off the bat, completely shatters a myth we all kind of believe. We tend to fixate on the big expenses, rent, the car payment, thinking those are the only things that truly matter. But oh man, the data told a very, very different story.
This is where it gets a little scary, because it shows just how good we are at lying to ourselves. The thought process is, oh, come on, it's just a $5 coffee. But the reality? When you track that over a year, that's over $1,800. It's just a $12 lunch, I'm busy. Well, that's nearly $3,000. The hard data proved, with zero room for argument, that these small, mindless, everyday habits were the real leak. And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? What a perfect metaphor. We're always searching for that one huge problem we can fix, that one big leak. But the real issue, the thing that's actually sinking the boat, is the slow, steady damage from hundreds of tiny purchases that we just dismiss as nothing. It's truly death by 1,000 cuts. But here's the thing. Those tiny holes, they weren't random. And that leads us straight into our second truth, which is where things get really, really personal. Because it turns out, our bank statements are often a direct mirror of our emotional state.
Just imagine this, looking back over your spending log and realizing it reads like an emotional diary. That is exactly what happened here. It was possible to pinpoint the most stressful weeks, bad days, or even arguments just by looking at the trail of receipts that followed.
And just look at these numbers. It's wild. During those high-stress times, takeout orders didn't just go up a little. They spiked by 250%. And online shopping, that little dopamine hit from clicking buy now, that shot up 180%. So these weren't just random splurges, they were measurable, quantifiable reactions to emotional triggers.
And boom, there it is. This is the absolute core of it. So much of our spending isn't about needing or even really wanting a thing. It's an unconscious attempt to buy a feeling, comfort, a distraction, a reward for surviving a tough day. We're using our credit cards to self-medicate our moods.
Now, it's not just emotional spending that flies under the radar. Truth number 3 revealed a totally different kind of automatic financial drain, one that, let's be honest, sneaks up on almost all of us in this digital age: the subscription creep.
So the author guessed they probably had, maybe 4 or 5 subscriptions? The reality? It was closer to 15. Look at this breakdown. You've got all the streaming services, the gym you haven't set foot in for months, software, apps. Each one is just a small little charge. But when you add them all up, it was over $200 just evaporating from the bank account every single month, without a single conscious decision being made.
Okay, so while subscriptions are a silent killer, this fourth truth is about a trap we walk into with our eyes wide open. It's this powerful psychological pull that retailers are absolute masters at exploiting: the discount.
This right here completely reframes the whole idea of a sale. Our brain sees a 50% off sticker and it just lights up. It tells us we're saving money. But let's be real. Spending $50 on a $100 item you don't actually need isn't saving $50, it's just wasting $50. The discount itself becomes the reason to buy, not the need.
And come on, does any of this look a little too familiar? That closet full of clothes you've worn maybe once? The kitchen gadgets that are still sitting in the box? The online courses you bought just because the deal was about to expire, but you never even logged in? These are the ghosts of the on-sale trap. All these things bought for the deal, not for a genuine need.
So, after facing all these uncomfortable truths, the tiny spends, the emotional buys, the subscriptions, the sale traps, what was the ultimate prize? What was the most profound lesson learned? Well, it wasn't about budgeting or restriction. It was something way more powerful.
This is so important. We often avoid looking at our bank statements because we're scared of what we'll find. But that avoidance, that ignorance, that's the real source of our financial anxiety. Facing the numbers, even when they're messy, is the only real cure.
And this is the transformation that happens. It starts with that painful confrontation, just looking at the facts with no judgment. From there, you get conscious awareness. You start to understand the why behind what you buy, and that's where this quiet confidence comes from. You're not just reacting anymore, you're making informed choices from a place of real control. Suddenly, tracking your spending isn't a chore, it becomes a form of self-care.
So, we'll leave you with this thought. Maybe the biggest takeaway from this whole thing is that your finances aren't just a math problem that needs to be solved. They're a personal story, a narrative about your habits, your emotions, your real priorities. And the only question is, are you ready to finally read it?